This is the VOA Special English Technology Report. Smartphones, tablet computers, and e-readers have become a part of everyday life for many people. They have also led to an explosion in the number of mobile applications. There is an app for just about anything you can think of. And more apps are being created every day. Robert Denazzi is a Hollywood movie producer. He is perhaps best well known as the executive producer of Flight Plan, the 2005 movie starring actress Jodie Foster. His most recent claim to fame is as co-developer of a new app called VoiceCal. It is a mobile calendar app that uses voice recognition software. Users are able to enter appointments into their iPhone calendar without having to type in the information. He said although he has a mobile phone, he had to stop what he was doing to put things in his calendar. In his words, "It got to the point where I just wasn't using the calendar on my iPhone, and neither was anybody else that I knew." Robert Denazzi decided there had to be a better way. So he teamed up with a friend who is a developer. The two used voice recognition software from a company called Nuance to build VoiceCal. He says when you use VoiceCal, you can say any event you want to put into your calendar and it will appear there. If you have 2 or more events to add to the calendar, you separate them by using the word also. Mr. Denazzi says all of this can be done hands-free. In settings, you can make it fully automatic, so I don't have to touch anything, he says. Robert Denazzi says there is a great need for an app like VoiceCal among busy businessmen like himself. He hopes the app will be successful over the long term. He says, in the movie business, you can do all the advertising in the world, and that can get you a great opening weekend. But if the movie's not good, it will die off. So really what supports a film, just like what supports an app, is word of mouth. Matt Kozlov is the head of a startup technology company called Moonshark in Los Angeles, California. The company makes game apps for mobile devices. It's an exploding marketplace right now, he says. There are hundreds of millions of devices out there right now that we can reach. Jennifer Lopez is helping Moonshark with a finger breakdancing game called DancePad. The company is also working with film director John Woo on an action game expected to be released at the end of this year. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal.
This is the VOA Special English Technology Report. A talking kitchen teaches students how to cook French and speak French. Researchers at the Newcastle University in Britain have developed the French Digital Kitchen. Professors Paul Seedhouse and Patrick Oliver led the project. Professor Seedhouse says it works like a satellite navigation system in a car. The sat-nav speaks to you, and it tells you, for example, to turn left. And if you turn left, then it continues with the program. If, for example, you turn right, then it's a mistake. So it loops back and gives you further instructions. The kitchen equipment and tools use motion sensor technology, similar to the Nintendo Wii game system. The sensors help a computer guide the students through instructions in French. The system can tell whether you've done what you were asked to do or not. So let's say, for example, the system tells you to take some butter and cut it with a knife. The sensor in the knife not only knows that the knife is moving, but it also knows what motion the knife is making. Students can ask the computer to repeat the instructions or translate them into English. There are vocabulary lessons before and after the cooking. Professor Seedhouse became interested in the idea after he visited a talking kitchen designed for a different purpose. It was actually for communicating with people who suffer from dementia. It can tell them, for example, that they've left the oven on. He says the French digital kitchen turns the process of learning language into a real-life experience. But the idea, known as task-based language learning, required a few changes as the researchers were designing the system. For example, if they had a sink full of water, as soon as people finished cooking with an instrument, they would throw it into the water. And for us, that's deadly, because the digital sensors were immediately ruined. The system could be available for sale by the end of 2012. Adding the technology to a new kitchen could add an estimated 10 to 20% to the building costs. The system could also be added to an existing kitchen. The researchers are also developing portable versions, and the European Union has given them money to begin programs in 6 other languages, including English, Italian, and Spanish. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Persutti. You can find links to videos about the talking kitchen at voaspecialenglish.com. From VOA Learning English, this is the Technology Report. The United States has announced a plan to fight the growing threat from cyber spies and internet attackers known as hackers. United States Attorney General Eric Holder says the Justice Department is fighting back aggressively. He says the department is working with states and federal agencies to bring to justice those involved in online theft and espionage. Mr. Holder called for increased cooperation with private businesses. He also noted the need to protect trade secrets. The Attorney General said a single trade secret can be worth millions of dollars. Stolen trade secrets, he said, hurt businesses, jobs, and economic competitiveness. The new policy calls for fines and trade action against individuals and countries that target U.S. trade secrets. The plan was announced the day after the American information security company Mandiant published its investigation of cyber attacks. It reported that more than 140 companies have been attacked since 2006. The targets include some of the biggest companies in the United States, such as Apple, Facebook, Lockheed Martin, and Coca-Cola. Mandiant says hacking groups in China carry out most of the attacks. They include groups known as Comment Crew and Shanghai Group. Mandiant also identified something called Advanced Persistent Threat 1, or APT-1. It says APT-1 is a part of the Chinese military, the People's Liberation Army. Mandiant says the Chinese government also wants to hack into important parts of America's infrastructure. China's foreign ministry denies Mandiant's accusations. It calls the report irresponsible. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn.
This is the VOA Special English Technology Report. Sony officials held a news conference in early May in Tokyo. They apologized for the theft of personal information from millions of users of the company's online services. Hackers targeted Sony's PlayStation Network, Sony Online Entertainment, and Curiosity Music Systems. In all, Sony says information may have been stolen from more than 100 million accounts. The data includes information like names, addresses, phone numbers, and birth dates. In some cases, even credit and debit card numbers may have been stolen. The United States Federal Bureau of Investigation is looking into the cyber attacks. Sony shut down its PlayStation Network on April 20th. The company is being criticized for not telling its users about the stolen information until a week later. Sony has also been criticized for not making its accounts more secure by encrypting the data. Sony officials say they have now taken steps to improve security. Peter Warren is chairman of the Cybersecurity Research Institute in London. His group studies technology crimes and their effects on our computer-dependent world. Mr. Warren points out that what happened at Sony is not rare. We've seen a number of very large companies that have suffered some tremendously embarrassing losses of data. The problem, he says, is that there is far more interest in developing technology than in keeping it safe. As he puts it, lots and lots of people are being allowed to connect a lot of technology up before it's really been particularly well tested. Peter Warren also points out that many people have a false sense of security online. On the internet, he says, they seem to be so blindly trusting of anybody and of any website, no matter how suspicious it may look. His message to users is simple. Try to be more careful on websites. He says the internet is just like any other street, and there are some twists and turns that can take you into some very, very unsavory places. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. To read and listen to more technology news and for English teaching activities, go to voaspecialenglish.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook at VOA Learning English.